And we're going to get started. So hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have the honor and privilege of being here with the one and only Aiden Lincoln. So excited to be interviewing you today, Aiden. Thank you so much for agreeing to join me. I'm so very excited to hear you speak today. It's going to be really, really awesome. But before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Tiffany Seitz. I'm the current reigning Miss Pennsylvania 2019 and 2020. And I am so excited to be closing out this Adoption Awareness Month with a very special interview. So I have Aiden Lincoln here. She's going to be sharing her story with us, which is absolutely incredible. I had the opportunity to read a little bit about it, but I'm more excited, I think, personally speaking, to hear you tell your story and to hear it live, because I think it's so much better, and I think it has so much more effect when I can hear it said in person. So I know at least that's what I've heard people tell me when I've told my story, but I'm really excited to just be here with you today. So Aiden, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I really appreciate it. It's going to be great.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to start with a little bit of background about me. My name is Aiden Lincoln. I'm adopted from China when I was 10 months old. But before that, I was abandoned in a shoebox left at a train station. The very next day, the police found me and took me to an orphanage where I spent the first 10 months of my life. And unfortunately, in China, it's something that I'm freezing.
Just tell your story.
I spent the first 10 months of my life in China, and then my wonderful parents came to get me. Flew halfway across the world to come and get me. And despite my struggles, I've had a lot of struggles with anxiety and ADHD, but I've learned to overcome them, and I'm here today.
That's awesome. That is really, really awesome. I know that, my adoption story is very similar to yours, except mine was a domestic adoption, and I was born addicted, cocaine positive, and I wasn't expected to live beyond 2 weeks. But, a very similar start to the fact that it was, very unfortunate. So, props to you for being here, for getting through and for fighting. But I'm sure at 10 months old, you probably don't know what your first life experience was like. You probably don't remember being abandoned in a shoebox, being left at a train station, but where you are at now, and the age that you are at now, what do you think when you hear that, thinking of everything that you've overcome, when you tell people how you started, what does that make you think, and how does that make you feel?
It's an interesting feeling, because I think it's a unique, everybody who's adopted has a unique story, and it's different and it's special in their own way. And I think that's one thing that people can't relate to unless they are adopted or they have adopted a child. But it makes me feel really good thinking about where I've come, and I wish I could go back and tell little Aiden that it turns out all right. But I'm just so grateful to be here today and for my family.
Absolutely. I know family is huge. Especially they're a fantastic support system when it comes to adoption. And, adoption is one of those things that can save lives. I know it saved mine and it saved yours. And I'm sure you're so grateful to your parents for traveling, like you said, halfway across the world to come essentially rescue you. Because, had you stayed there, there's no telling what would have happened. So how do you think, in what ways has adoption changed your life?
Yeah, I don't think I would be the person I am today. I wouldn't have gotten all the amazing opportunities if I hadn't been adopted, especially in the US. There were so many more opportunities I've gotten here. And I think about my journey and the people, I've met the most amazing people along the way who have helped me, I've grown close to, and the most amazing things that I've got to experience that I know would not be possible in China if I hadn't been adopted.
Absolutely. And I know that one of our former Miss Pennsylvanias is actually adopted from South Korea too. And her platform was building families through adoption. And I know that, we do both have adoption platforms and social impact initiatives, but, I don't really have a whole lot of experience or knowledge in the international adoption sector or region. I know we have two friends of mine are adopted from China, and they're sisters. And that's really like all I know about the process. But, my journey started out when I was in foster care. So obviously, I think being in foster care is really, really different than being in, a Chinese orphanage and having to go through the, sometimes very challenging things that come with an international adoption. So, what do you think? Like, how are overseas adoptions different, and what do you think the benefits and challenges to international adoptions are?
I think international adoption is a lot harder on the child in many ways, coming to America, a new country, learning a new language, trying to adapt culturally, especially being so young. But I also think there's advantages. I look at my family, we celebrate my Chinese culture, which I'm so grateful that they do on Chinese New Year and my Gotcha Day. I think that's like the biggest thing culturally is different than the US. Both have pros and cons in their own way. And it's a lot different. It's a lot different in so many different ways, but it's also more unique. And one day I hope to go back to China and see where I'm from. And um, that's my hope with my family.
That's awesome. Do you know where in China you are from?
Yes, Mao Ming,
Okay,
where I was found.
awesome. Awesome. That's great. I think that would be really cool. I know a lot of people there. I do have a college friend that's been back to where they were adopted from in China. So they actually had the opportunity to go back and see. And I think they might have met up with their birth parents, but really, really interesting, especially when you're coming from somewhere so different, so culturally and vastly different than the United States. I think it's, would be kind of cool to go back and see, your heritage and, where you come from. I think that's really awesome. But, speaking of, heritage and ethnic differences, my family is a Caucasian family, and I grew up as a minority in a Caucasian family, which, has come with challenges of its own. And I know that you and I are similar in that respect. We don't look like our parents. And so, what has that experience been like for you?
That's something that I've thought about. I think to the world, they look so much different. They're afraid to ask questions or they stare and they wonder. I wish I could tell them it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to wonder. Family isn't blood. Um, it's so much more than that. Family is surrounded by love and not genetics, but love and relationships. So I think that's one of the biggest things growing up.
Absolutely. I think that's so great that you pointed out. And that is something I say to people all the time is that, family isn't necessarily blood. You don't have to be a blood relative to somebody to love them and to treat them like family. So you know, I think that's really great perspective that you offer there, because it's so true. And I feel like not enough people understand that. A lot of people think that adoption is kind of a crazy way to start a family. And, oh, if you adopt somebody, well, they're never actually your family because you're not blood related. You don't share DNA. You don't look alike. And there's a lot of things that the world says that are like, you know, basically discredit adoption and discredit the fact that, like, we don't look like our family. But I think that you and I have a very different and unique perspective on what family actually is and what family should look like. So I think that that's really awesome. But how old are you, Aiden? Right? I believe I read you're senior in high school, right?
Yes, senior dual
Oh,
enrollment student.
got you. Awesome. So I know that, like, being a teenager in 2020 is kind of rough. I think being a teenager, period, is kind of rough. Like, I wouldn't go back to my teen years for anything. I was not good looking whatsoever. So, like, if you would have told me when I was like 14 years old that I would ever be Miss Pennsylvania, I would have laughed in your face, because I was like, that's just so not me. But I think being a teenager, regardless of, like, you know, what you look like and, what's going on in, like, middle and high school, it does come with a lot of challenges. It's a really interesting season of life to navigate through. So what have you done to overcome the challenges, and what have you had help you along the way? I know that you said that you struggled with, ADHD and anxiety. So, what are some things and coping mechanisms that you've used to deal with that as you're at your age?
Right now, I would say just different techniques that I have learned. planning ahead. And like, of course, my family and my doctors have been a huge part of it. And I look back to third grade, and before my years before third grade, which were some of the hardest years of my life. And I met Crystal Carter-Sell, my third grade teacher, and she forever changed me and gave me a new perspective, not only in school, but in life. And today we are very, very close.
That's awesome. I think it's so important to have somebody there, like a mentor for you. And I'm sure you would agree probably that, has really helped you navigate through some of the things that you have to deal with on a daily basis.
Yes, of course. Having that support system is a huge, huge part of anybody with.
Absolutely. Yes, I think it's so great. So you're going to be graduating soon. That's really exciting. So what are your future plans? I know we talked a little bit about this on social media, but I really, really am interested to hear what you want to do for college and after college.
So right now I'm a dual enrollment student at my local community college, which my mom works at, partially why I'm doing it. And in the future, right now I'm planning on a journalism, media, and communications major for my associates. And in the future, I want to go to a music business school and do either digital marketing or music business and work for like a record label or an entertainment agent.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, that is really, really cool. So you want to be kind of like behind the scenes in the music.
Yes.
That's awesome. So do you like music? Is that one of your favorite subjects in school?
Not necessarily in school. I do listen to a lot of music. I listen to a lot of Shawn Mendes, and that yeah, he kind of inspired me. I got an opportunity to work with his record label as kind of a remote intern in 2018, and that's what made me realize this is what I want to do.
That is awesome. I know Shawn Mendes is. I teach dance, so all the girls in my class are kind of obsessed with Shawn Mendes. Me, maybe not so much at 25, but I'm a real big fan of Havana by him and Camila Cabello. So that's my Shawn Mendes exposure. Probably not as extensive as yours, but you're gonna have to give me some tips on what Shawn Mendes music to listen to. But that's awesome that you got to work with his record label. What was that?
I met him. Mm-hmm.
You met him?
2 times. He's so tall. Yeah.
No way. I bet you I know a lot of teenage girls that are jealous of you right now.
I wonder, he follows me on Twitter too, yeah.
No. Oh my gosh. You're actually famous. That's amazing.
Yeah. But it was so cool, and that still makes me laugh. I'm so excited. He's like the opportunity listening to his music and getting so many opportunities has brought me more opportunities, made me realize what I want to do in life, and allowed me to meet so many people through his music. So music is a really powerful thing in my life too.
Absolutely. Do you play any instruments?
No.
You don't?
No.
Wow.
I've tried, but it didn't end very well.
I get it. I was in a competition once and I did a piano solo when I was in high school, and it went really downhill really, really fast. It was not good. So every day of every Saturday of my college career, I went and practiced because I was like, that's never happening again. So Aiden, I want your parents to join us for this point in the interview. I think it would be so great to hear from them and their perspective as parents and individuals. I think that would be great if they would join us. So hi, Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? Thank you so much for being willing to join me today and to talk about your perspective as parents for adoption. I can tell that you are so very proud of this young woman and her accomplishments. I mean, not every teenager gets to work for Shawn Mendes' record label. Am I right? That's
very true.
That's forever going to be starstruck in my mind. That is absolutely outstanding. But I'm so glad that we have the chance to speak for you with you guys and allow you guys to share your perspective on adoption and specifically international adoption, because I think parents, and I can speak for my parents as well, they have such a different perspective on adoption and what the process is like from a parental perspective. So I think it would be really, really great to hear from you guys on that. So what made you choose adoption first and foremost, and what made you choose China for adoption?
Well, we we knew we have two biological sons, and we knew we had room in our heart for another child. And via our conversations, we would sit down and talk about, okay, we have two boys, and my wife was not too thrilled about the prospect of a third boy because our son, our sons are typically active kids. They played sports. So we were like, okay, there's there's some different things we can talk about, and adoption came up, and we had an experience at Chris's work with a girl who was adopted from China, and we made a contact, and quite frankly, it moved very fast from there, and we knew that was the right place for us. We knew there was someone in the world that was meant to be a part of our family, and we went down the path, and we went down it fast, and we ended up in China in 18 months. Why China specifically? You're guaranteed to get a girl. Almost. You can request a boy, but it's not often chosen. It's not often available. Boys just aren't available. And for China has their set of rules, right? And we knew, quite frankly, there was someone out there in the world for us, and we kind of all say, like, we chose each other.
Yeah, and even through the process, and it happened during the SARS pandemic in China.
Yeah.
So it was a little scary at that point. And there were times where we said, is this really the right time? Should we be doing this? I mean, we certainly had our doubts through the process, but we held strong, believing that, this was meant to be, and that we would never want to look back in 18 years and say, dang, wish we would have done that,
in the process of adoption, and you tell people you're adopting, it's surprising how many people, we thought about that. We thought about that.
Yeah.
And then didn't do it. It's like, take the step, take the step. It's okay.
Absolutely. I know it's so funny you mentioned the fact that like your wife was not excited, or not excited, but like
I would have happily taken a boy. But
third boy, right? It's so funny because I have 3 older brothers that are fostered as well. And so how I came to be was the fact that my mom wanted a girl. So I think wanting a girl is a popular thing. That's so great.
Especially when you have nothing but boys.
Like, I think she was about to pull her hair out at this moment. And so they were like, we need a girl. And then here I am. And now I'm the expensive child of the family.
Yes.
Fortunately, I'm sure you probably can relate, right? Girls are so much more expensive than boys. We're a little bit more high maintenance, but we add that special feminine touch to the family that you wouldn't have if you had boys. So it's definitely, we're good for the dynamic. I will say that.
Yeah.
Balance things out.
Yes, for sure. So what would you guys, say to encourage others, to adopt? Because I know you'd mentioned that you've encountered so many people that have said, oh, we thought about adopting, but just have never gone through with it. So why do you think that more people don't go through with it? And what would you say to possibly change their minds on, adoption?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of fear of the unknown. But overall, after all these years, I think both of us would say to just be realistic and optimistic in your adoption pursuits. To be relentless in your research, to garner the help, wisdom, and expertise of others, and just to expect to be changed forever. It really is a life-altering experience. It was for all of us, including our sons. I think that adoption, just like having a biological child, is a journey, has unexpected challenges. And in the moment, sometimes those challenges can seem unsurmountable. However, over time, they become opportunities for us to gain new perspectives and insights about love, relationships, and commitment.
Yeah, it's a process. It's, having been through it, the challenges, the upsides, the good days, the bad days, it's completely worth it. So if you're asking directly, like what would we say to someone who would, I simply start the investigation process, right? There's a process that you'll go through, and as the adoption unfolds, you have opportunities to continue forward. But definitely start the process. It's a healthy process, a healthy look inward at your family.
Absolutely. I think that's fantastic perspective. I know that there are, like you said, a lot of fear of the unknowns, and that's kind of why people refrain from adopting, is that they know there are so many hoops to jump through. And
Yeah.
sometimes, kind of getting that process started and getting the ball rolling with that can be really difficult, because often people don't know where to start. And so I think it's important, when you have a job like mine, to tell people where they can start. So that way it removes some of the intimidation, and it removes some of the initial questions that you have. In regards to adoption. So I'm hoping that when people see this, they will be inspired to adopt, whether it be domestically right here in the US or internationally, because, there are so many people out there that I'm sure you guys know are in need of love and of a home, and maybe that opportunity lies here in the US, especially if you're considering international adoption. But it is a phenomenal, opportunity that you get to talk about this and to share this story with so many people. And I'm sure, just in this short time together, that you will inspire many, and not including the ones that you have already inspired. So that's really awesome. So thank you guys so much for sharing that with me. But, when we talk about family, and I know Aiden and I had discussed this a little earlier on in the interview, but family is really, really unique and dynamic. And, I think how we talked about boys and girls making the, balancing that family dynamic. But besides adoption, what else makes your family unique and dynamic?
I think we're a resilient family. We've gone through a lot of tough times, but it's really allowed us to grow and to realize that we have the love, support, and expertise of lots of people around us, including friends, families, teachers, professionals, who have filled in the gaps where Pat and I didn't always have what we needed. I think, the other side of that is that as a family, we like to have fun, and we really work on not taking ourselves too seriously. So a good sense of humor always goes a long way. Really has been a unique aspect, I think, of our life.
I think it's an obvious one, but color. We're not the same color. We are a multiracial family. I use the term Caucasian all the time.
No, why would you?
Right? Well, it's true.
That needs to go in the dictionary.
Yeah, Caucasian. So, it allows you a perspective in life as someone. I've only ever been white, right? And until Aiden was a part of our family, I wasn't great at recognizing what families of color are a different color are about. You definitely get looked at. People look at us all the time. People walk up to, when Aiden was really little, like in a car seat little. Oh, isn't she lucky? And I would say, no, we're the lucky ones. We're the ones who are lucky. It's this journey. It's not an unusual journey. It's a unique journey. Other people have adopted, but it certainly gives you perspective. I think one of the things, and Aiden's brothers too, they're two basically dirty blonde, blue-eyed boys, that men at this point in their lives, they have a perspective of being from a family of color, different colors, and it's been great for us.
That's awesome.
Your family's all different colors.
Absolutely. I always tell them I am like our family is mainly Caucasian. I do have another Black sibling, but I always tell people that I am the chocolate drizzle on the vanilla sundae.
That's great.
So honestly, Caucasian is, I think that needs to go in the dictionary. That's really a new term that I want to hear again.
You're in charge of championing that.
Okay, I'll put it in Urban Dictionary.
Caucasian, I'm telling you.
Urban Dictionary, that is where it needs to go, and it will go viral there. That is so awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, you guys, thank you so much for being willing to share, your adoption story and your, all of that with me. I really appreciate that, because I know that takes a great deal of courage on everybody's behalf. And Aiden, thank you for being willing to share with me, because I know sometimes talking about these things is really personal, and you never know how it's going to be perceived by people. But I can tell you sitting here that like, I am so inspired by your story, and I am so excited to share this with everybody else. And I think that they're going to be equally as inspired. So anybody else, I really want you to meet some of our other title holders too. We have some fantastic title holders in this organization that would love to connect with you and would love to meet you. So I would definitely love to get you their contact information. And if you are a title holder watching this right now, you can reach out to Aiden on social media. Do you use social media pretty frequently, Aiden?
Yeah.
You're checking? Okay,
Yes.
good
What
stuff.
kind of question is that? That's crazy talk. Of course.
If you're 18, if you're in high school, you're probably using social media like a decent amount, right?
Yeah.
So definitely reach out to Aiden on social media. I know we have a lot of girls that are, you know, a couple in my class. As a matter of fact, my first runner, the first runner up to Miss America, Miss Georgia, is a champion for foster care and all kinds of adoption. So I'm sure I would love to have her talk to you. And also my Miss Alaska also has, you know, experience in this realm as well with the platform of foster care and adoption. So I would love for you to meet some of our title holders at even the state and the local level too. So we should definitely get you connected there. But I am so very grateful that you guys took the time out of your day today to speak with me. And you know, I think if you're interested in scholarship money, Aiden, I think that the Miss Pennsylvania Scholarship Foundation might be a place for your future. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
That
If
sounds
you're
good.
Yes, absolutely. I think you would be a great fit for our program. I'm just putting that out there. So definitely consider that. But thank you to all of us who are watching this interview back. We are so excited to be closing out Adoption Awareness Month with such a special interview. So if you know of anybody, if you or anybody you know is considering adoption or thinking about adoption or wants to know more about this, share this interview with them and share Aiden's story with them. You can get more information about her on social media, and you can also read her article in the Lehigh Valley Live. So Aiden and family, once again, thank you so very much for joining me today. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much for having me.